My coworker stole my promotion, so I pulled the pin on a secret that blew up the whole company. I'm Naomi Reyes, 29, mid-level manager at a fintech company called Velonex, or at least I was, until I uncovered something that detonated the company from the inside out. But let's start with what mattered first. The promotion, the one I worked 2 years for. The one they handed to Jordan Lang, a guy so lazy, I once found him watching chessboxing during a client onboarding meeting. Let me back up. I was hired at Velonex at 25, one of the youngest team leads in company history. I don't say that to brag. I say it because I earned it. I worked 12-hour days, trained 3 interns who now had full-time jobs, built new client pipelines, streamlined our onboarding process, helped save $250,000 in budget losses. My boss, Derek Colburn, even called me his top performer during last year's review. He said, "You're a lock for the next leadership slot." And then came the email. "We're thrilled to announce Jordan Lang as the new head of product implementation." I sat frozen in my cubicle, rereading the sentence. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just stared. I was sure it was a mistake, a glitch, a misprint. Jordan Lang, head of product implementation. He couldn't even implement a spreadsheet formula without Googling it. I walked straight into Derek's office. He didn't even look surprised. "Naomi," he said, folding his hands, "you're doing great work, but this decision came from higher up." "Why?" "Jordan has seniority, and he has strong relationships with some of our executive stakeholders." "Relationships?" I asked. "You mean happy hour?" Derek's lips twitched. "You're taking this too personally." Oh, I was taking it very personally. The thing about Jordan, he wasn't just lazy. He was a thief. Not in the literal sense. But he had a habit of swooping in at the last minute, copying what others built and branding it as his. And I had receipts. The month before the promotion, Jordan had asked me to collaborate on a pitch deck for a major client, Atlas Tech, a $4 million opportunity. I created 90% of the presentation. Market research, integration mock-ups, migration timelines, all in my voice, my layout style, even my case studies. He reviewed it the night before, then presented it without me, didn't credit me once. When I confronted him after, he laughed and said, "Relax, we're all one team." No, we weren't. I began to unravel when I saw the press release. Jordan was quoted saying, "I personally designed the onboarding framework that helped secure Atlas Tech. My framework, my client. But I didn't snap right away. I planned. And I remembered something Derek had once told me, back when we were close. We were both working late, and he was venting about the founders, Lucas and Rachel, how they were secretive, especially about their offshore operations. He said something that stuck with me. You don't want to know where the seed money came from. It sounded like paranoia at the time. Now it sounded like a matchbox waiting for a spark. That night I used a burner laptop, one I kept for freelance work, and began digging. Velonex's public investor list was clean, all VC-backed, all American. But a few domains tied to company expense reports pointed elsewhere. I traced email exchanges between Jordan and a P. Morales based in Panama, masked behind corporate language, but too frequent for coincidence. Morales was listed in a Panama-based shell company, Triarch Group Limited. Triarch had invested $5 million in Velonex during its early days, money that never showed up in the United States financial disclosures. But I found the routing path, and then I found the connection that made my heart stop. Triarch was listed in a federal investigation tied to crypto laundering and overseas fraud syndicates. Velonex was laundering money. Jordan wasn't just a lazy coworker, he was the link. I documented everything. Spent 2 straight weeks off-grid after work, compiling screenshots, emails, PDFs, metadata. I encrypted it into a folder I labeled lunch recipes, just in case. And then, I walked into Jordan's office. He was leaning back, spinning a pen between his fingers. "Naomi," he said with his usual smirk. "Still salty?" "Not really," I replied. "I've been thinking." He raised an eyebrow. "About?" "About how far you're willing to go to steal credit, or how far your friends are willing to go to keep their money clean." The smile faltered. I slid a printed email across his desk, one of the ones he forgot to delete from his outbox. He read it. His face turned to stone. "Where did you get this?" "Doesn't matter. I know everything, Jordan. Atlas, Morales, Triarch, the buried transfers, you're laundering money." He stood slowly. "You don't want to do this. Then make me an offer." He didn't even hesitate. $100,000, we'll wire it through a consulting front. You walk away and forget this ever happened. I laughed. He blinked. "You think this is about money?" He moved around the desk. "I'm serious, Naomi. Don't be stupid." That's when I said it. "You already wired the $100K to the federal Sting account I set up last week." Silence. "You're bluffing." I leaned in, quiet, measured. "FBI, IRS, SEC, all copied. You should be getting a knock-in about now." On cue, there was shouting in the hallway. Footsteps, badges, gloves, guns. They raided the office, arrested Jordan, subpoenaed Derek, frozen Velonex's accounts. The founders vanished. But the paper trail I left helped track them down 2 months later. I didn't get fired. I didn't get sued. I got offered a position by the very agency I tipped off. But I didn't take it. I went freelance. Started a firm that audits mid-tier companies for internal fraud. I've helped shut down 6 shady operations since. I also do speaking gigs now, mostly for young women in tech and finance. Sometimes people ask, was it worth it? I just smile and say, don't ask me. Ask Jordan. He's currently serving 12 years in federal prison. They handed him my promotion, so I handed them their downfall.